Right now, as you are watching this video, there is something happening inside your body that most doctors never talk about. Every single day, 3 times a day, sometimes more, you are making a choice, and that choice is either feeding your immune system or feeding cancer cells. And the terrifying part, most people have absolutely no idea they are doing it. Today, I'm going to show you exactly which foods and habits are silently fueling cancer growth inside your body. And more importantly, I'm going to show you the scientifically proven strategies to starve those cancer cells before they ever get a chance to take over. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share in the last few minutes of this video could be the most important information you have ever heard about your long-term health. I am Dr. Richard Ben, and for years I have been studying the relationship between what we eat, how we live, and how cancer cells behave inside the human body. And I want to start by telling you something that genuinely shocked me when I first learned it in medical research. And it still shocks most of my patients today. Cancer cells are not random. They are not mysterious. They are not some alien invasion from outside your body. Cancer cells are your own cells, your own DNA, that have gone rogue. And here's the thing about rogue cells. They are incredibly smart, they are strategic, and they are hungry. The question is, are you accidentally feeding them? Let me explain how this works, because once you understand the science, everything else will make perfect sense. Every cell in your body needs energy to survive. Normal healthy cells use a very efficient system. They take in oxygen and glucose, run it through a complex process called oxidative phosphorylation, and produce energy cleanly and efficiently. Cancer cells, however, are different. Cancer cells use a process called the Warburg effect, named after the Nobel Prize-winning scientist Otto Warburg, who discovered it back in 1931. What Warburg found was that cancer cells prefer to consume glucose, which is simply sugar, at a dramatically higher rate than normal cells. In fact, cancer cells consume glucose up to 200 times faster than healthy cells do. 200 times. That is not a small difference. That is an enormous metabolic advantage that cancer cells are exploiting every time your blood sugar spikes. And this is exactly why what you eat matters so much more than most people realize. So, let me ask you a very direct question. How much sugar are you eating every single day? And I do not just mean the obvious sugar, the candy bars, the sodas, the desserts. I mean the hidden sugar, the sugar that hides inside your breakfast cereal, your flavored yogurt, your fruit juice, your white bread, your pasta, your store-bought sauces, your energy drinks, your so-called healthy protein bars. The World Health Organization has recommended that adults consume no more than 25 g of added sugar per day. But studies show that the average person is consuming between 70 and 100 g of added sugar every single day. That is 3 to 4 times the safe limit every single day. And every single time that sugar floods into your bloodstream, cancer cells, if they are present anywhere in your body, are lined up at the table, ready to feast. Now, here is where it gets even more alarming. When you eat a high sugar diet over a long period of time, your pancreas keeps pumping out insulin to try to manage all that glucose. Over time, your cells stop responding well to insulin. This is called insulin resistance. And here is something that most people do not know. Elevated insulin levels do not just manage blood sugar. Insulin is also a powerful growth factor. Studies published in major oncology journals have confirmed that high insulin levels stimulate cancer cell proliferation. They basically press the accelerator on cancer growth. This is why type 2 diabetes, which is closely tied to insulin resistance, significantly increases the risk of several cancers, including pancreatic cancer, colorectal cancer, and breast cancer. We are not talking about a minor association. A large meta-analysis published in the journal Gut found that people with type 2 diabetes have a 47% higher risk of developing colorectal cancer compared to those without diabetes. That number should stop you in your tracks. But sugar is only part of the story. There is another massive driver of cancer growth that almost nobody talks about, and that is chronic inflammation. Now, I want you to picture your immune system as a fire department. When something goes wrong in your body, an infection, An injury, a threat your immune system sends in the fire trucks. Inflammation is that firefighting process. It is essential for healing. But imagine if the fire trucks never went home. Imagine if there was a low, level fire burning inside your body every single day, week after week, year after year. That is chronic inflammation. And research has now firmly established that chronic inflammation creates the perfect environment for cancer to develop and spread. What causes chronic inflammation? A lot of things. Stress, lack of sleep, a sedentary lifestyle. But the biggest driver by far is diet, specifically ultra-processed foods. I am talking about fast food, packaged snacks, processed meats like hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats, fried foods cooked in refined vegetable oils, and artificially flavored products that come in a box with an ingredient list you need a chemistry degree to understand. These foods are loaded with trans fats, refined carbohydrates, artificial additives, and industrial seed oils, all of which trigger the release of pro-inflammatory molecules called cytokines. When cytokines stay elevated over time, they damage healthy cells, disrupt DNA repair mechanisms, and create an environment where abnormal cells can survive, multiply, and eventually become tumors. A landmark study published in the British Medical Journal followed over 100 Zalozan adults and found that every 10% increase in ultra-processed food consumption was associated with a 12% increase in overall cancer risk. That is direct. That is significant. And that should change how you look at your next trip to the grocery store. Now, I want to talk about something that I think is incredibly underappreciated in the conversation about cancer prevention. And that is IGF-1, or insulin like growth factor 1. This is a hormone that your liver produces, and in childhood it plays an important role in growth and development. But in adulthood, chronically elevated IGF-1 has been linked to higher rates of breast cancer, prostate cancer, and colon cancer. What raises IGF-1? Primarily a diet that is very high in animal protein, particularly dairy and red meat consumed in large quantities. This is a nuanced point, and I'm not here to tell you that you can never eat meat or dairy. But research coming out of institutions like Harvard School of Public Health consistently shows that people who eat large amounts of processed red meat, more than 4 servings per week, have a significantly elevated risk of colorectal cancer. And the International Agency for Research on Cancer, one of the world's leading cancer authorities, has classified processed meats like bacon, hot dogs, and sausage as Group 1 carcinogens. Same category as tobacco smoke. Let that sink in. So, what can we do? Because I do not want to just scare you, I want to empower you. Because here is the truth that I absolutely love about the science of cancer nutrition. Your body has extraordinary natural defenses against cancer, and you have the power to activate those defenses every single day through your choices. Let me walk you through the most powerful research-backed strategies to starve cancer cells and build a body that is deeply hostile to cancer growth. The first and most powerful strategy is to stabilize your blood sugar. Remember, cancer cells are running on glucose. If you keep your blood sugar stable and low, you are cutting off one of their primary fuel sources. How do you do this? You eliminate or dramatically reduce added sugars and refined carbohydrates. You replace white bread, white rice, and white pasta with whole grains. Things like brown rice, quinoa oats, and legumes. You prioritize fiber because fiber slows the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream, which prevents those dangerous glucose spikes. A study in the journal JAMA Oncology found that women who followed a low glycemic diet had a 27% lower risk of developing breast cancer than those on a high glycemic diet. 27% lower risk just from managing blood sugar. That is enormous. The second strategy is to aggressively fight inflammation through food. And the good news here is that nature has given us some of the most powerful anti-inflammatory medicines in the world. They are called vegetables, fruits, herbs, and spices. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage contain a compound called sulforaphane, which has been shown in multiple studies to directly inhibit cancer cell growth and trigger something called apoptosis, which is programmed cell death in cancer cells. In plain language, sulforaphane can actually tell cancer cells to die. Berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries are packed with antioxidants called anthocyanins that neutralize the free radicals that damage DNA and contribute to cancer development. Turmeric, which contains the active compound curcumin, has been studied extensively for its anti-cancer properties. A review published in the journal Nutrients found that curcumin interferes with multiple cancer cell signaling pathways, essentially jamming the communication signals that cancer cells use to grow and survive. Green tea deserves its own special mention. Green tea contains catechins, particularly one called EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate, which is one of the most studied anti-cancer compounds in nutritional science. Research has shown that EGCG can inhibit tumor angiogenesis. That is, the process by which tumors build their own blood supply to feed themselves. Without a blood supply, tumors cannot grow beyond a tiny size. Cut off the blood supply, and you are cutting off the tumor's lifeline. The third strategy is to optimize your gut microbiome. This one surprises a lot of people. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria collectively called your microbiome, and your microbiome plays a critical role in regulating your immune system. In fact, approximately 70% of your immune system lives in and around your gut. A healthy, diverse microbiome trains your immune system to recognize and destroy abnormal cells before they can become cancer. But when your gut microbiome is disrupted by processed foods, antibiotics, chronic stress, alcohol, and lack of fiber, it weakens your immune surveillance. Research published in the journal Science found that cancer patients who had a diverse gut microbiome responded significantly better to immunotherapy than those with a depleted microbiome. Your gut bacteria are literally part of your anti-cancer defense system. Feed them well. Eat fermented foods, yogurt with live cultures, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir. Eat a wide variety of plant-based fiber. Your good bacteria thrive on fiber. They ferment it and produce short-chain fatty acids that actively suppress colon cancer cell growth. Strategy 4, and this one is free, requires no special foods, no supplements, is intermittent fasting. When you fast for 14 to 16 hours, something remarkable happens inside your body. Your cells activate a process called autophagy, from the Greek meaning self-eating. During autophagy, your cells literally consume damaged and dysfunctional components, including pre-cancerous cells. Think of it as your body's built-in cleaning service. Nobel Prize winner Yoshinori Ohsumi won the 2016 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine specifically for his research into autophagy. And the evidence connecting fasting-induced autophagy to cancer prevention is growing rapidly. Simply stopping eating after dinner by 700 or 800 p.m. and not eating again until 1000 or 1100 a.m. the next morning can activate this powerful protective process. It costs you nothing. It requires no prescription. Strategy 5 is exercise. I know, you have heard it before, but let me give you the specific reason why exercise matters for cancer. Because it is not just about burning calories. When you exercise regularly, you lower circulating insulin levels. You reduce chronic inflammation markers. You boost your natural killer cells, which are your immune system's specialized cancer-hunting cells. And you reduce levels of estrogen in the body, which is directly linked to lower breast cancer risk. The American Cancer Society found that physically active women have a 25% lower risk of breast cancer than sedentary women. Men who exercise regularly have a significantly lower risk of colon cancer and prostate cancer. The data is consistent and powerful. You do not need to become a marathon runner. 30 minutes of brisk walking 5 days a week is enough to meaningfully change your cancer risk. And finally, sleep. This is the most overlooked cancer prevention tool in existence. When you sleep deeply, your body produces melatonin, a hormone that is not only a sleep regulator, but also a powerful antioxidant and proven anti-cancer agent. Studies have shown that melatonin directly inhibits tumor growth and reduces cancer cell invasion. Night shift workers who chronically disrupt their melatonin production have been found in multiple studies to have higher rates of breast cancer, prostate cancer, and colorectal cancer. The International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified night shift work as a probable carcinogen. Your sleep schedule is a cancer prevention strategy, 7 to 10 hours of quality sleep in a dark room at consistent times. This is not a luxury. This is medicine. Here is the bottom line, and I want you to really hear this. Cancer is not inevitable. Yes, genetics play a role, but researchers at Harvard now estimate that up to 40% of cancers are preventable through lifestyle changes alone. 40%. That is not a small number. That is nearly half of all cancer cases. Every single day you have an opportunity to either feed your body's defenses or feed cancer's growth. Every meal is a vote. Every night of good sleep is a vote. Every walk around the block is a vote. The science is clear. The power is in your hands. Do not wait for a diagnosis to start caring about this. The best time to build a cancer-resistant body is right now, today, before any alarm bells go off. Start by cutting the added sugar. Start by eating more cruciferous vegetables. Start by walking. Start by sleeping. These are not complicated changes, but their impact on your long-term health is profound and measurable. If this video gave you value, if it made you think differently about your daily choices, please take 2 seconds right now and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this information reach more people who need it. And if you are not subscribed yet, subscribe now and hit the notification bell, because every week I am bringing you real science, explained simply to help you and your family live longer, healthier lives. And in the next video, I'm going to cover the specific blood tests that can detect early signs of cancer risk years before any symptoms appear. Tests that most doctors never order unless you specifically ask for them. You do not want to miss that? I will see you there.